So, hello everyone, and today we are covering the topic of cloud native. So, we will introduce ourselves and take the question of uh, what is the cloud native for their organization. So, let me start with me. And so, I am with Cast 24 from last 10 years, and in cloud we are using GCP as well as AWS both for our application deployment, and we are heavily using cloud and the cloud technologies, and it is we are getting a lot of benefit out of it all as well. And uh, let's start with our first question. And please, panelists, also introduce yourself with the question. First, you introduce yourself and tell about the cloud usage in your organization. And the question is, cloud native, actually everybody knows that cloud started with we spawn a service, we spawn a server within a minute. And earlier we were using data center, and we have to fill a form, and then we get a server like after 12 days. But now when the cloud came, it gave us a impression that you will get a service up within a minute. So this started with the provisioning of service within a minute to serverless, that application developer will write code directly on the server, and it do not require any provisioning of any CPU or memory, and it will be on the internet. So please tell about yourself and this question also.
Thank you, Devender. So myself Dilawar, and I'm heading the DevOps compliance team in MobiKwik, and I'm working in MobiKwik since last 3 years. And we are also usually heavily use the clouds, and mostly we are on the AWS, and we are also using some other stuff as well, maybe some Azure as well, due to some is depend on the application natures. If you talk about the like cloud native imperative, talk about the how your application is using the clouds. It depends on your nature of applications, and mostly because we are belongs from the fintech. So in fintech, compliance and other things are very mandatory. So according to that, we are only earlier we were some monolithic applications, but now we are doing like refactoring of applications, and after that we are doing the lift and shift on the application on the clouds. So it depends on nature of application again. So if you like your application microservice or Spring jar based, right? So you can easily deploy on the cloud. And recently multiple tech stacks are in the tech sites. So they are also starting to using the AWS Lambda, or if you talk about the Azure, so Azure function as well. So which is called as serverless. So maybe independent of applications, some application can be like depend on number of crons you have to execute. Like you have to call multiple threads. In that case, you can deploy those applications on the serverless, and you can deploy those applications on the AWS Lambda. So that can also save your cost as well. Your operation cost would be also less. So I think the right approach, you can use cloud for more scalability, elasticity, and high agility as well. You can get more benefit, and other things also in place. You can, of course, cost would be higher, but operation cost would be less. So it's from my side.
Shashilpi?
So hi, I'm Shashilpi. I work with MakeMyTrip, like with MakeMyTrip from last 8 years, and working like started there with site reliability, eventually now managing infrastructure. Like the way the world has evolved, so the operations also evolved, security, compliance, databases, etc. Regarding cloud native, I believe that cloud native definition for every company is very different. Some just want to utilize it to up to let's say EC2 level or the VMs level only. Maybe few may want it to take it to the next level, start utilizing the cloud PaaS services also, or maybe uses the SaaS services also. And finally, I believe the level is where you don't even bother about IaaS for what you went to the cloud. Eventually, you don't bother about even those hardware, those machines also, and you go serverless. So that is like, it's up to the company's maturity level to what level they want to adopt the cloud native approach. But in my experience, when it comes to like my experience with cloud native, when you start developing applications, like when your developers start developing something thinking that there is an S3 bucket to store, and there is the Lambda would be running my code. That is the true cloud native, when you start designing the way, thinking that I'll be storing things in S3 bucket. So, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Being cloud native is good also, it's bad also. You get a vendor lock-in, you build something cloud native, let's say to AWS, tomorrow, let's say due to XYZ reason, COVID came, we saw everybody wanted to come back to the on-premise. So, I mean, should go cloud native, but not to an extent from where you cannot come back. So I mean, this is my take on this.
So, hey everyone, I'm Satender. I work with RingCentral in India, and I lead the DevOps and SRE team. Close to 20 years of experience, and I have seen this journey, right, starting from a sysadmin looking after the Linux servers, and then seeing that evolution happening across, right, to the point where now we have DevOps, SRE in multiple terms. Now we have NoOps and MLOps and whatnot, right? So for me, right, cloud native, again, I think Shashilpi also touched on it and Dilawar touched on it. It has been there for some time. We know cloud is there to service your resource requirements, right? And it provides its own benefits. But when we say cloud native, I think the definition has to be your own, right? So, for example, for my current company, I would say it's a journey right now. We were actually on-prem for a long time, and then a lot of workload today is on cloud as well. And it's moving, right, from one to another, from on-prem to cloud. And then there are multiple flavors of clouds also. So cloud native, I think, will very much depend on what you are making of it. And then, I mean, we may get misguided by saying when somebody says cloud native, right, it means 100% cloud, right? It may not be true. The definition varies from one place to another. That's how I will put it. Yeah.
Hello everyone, I am Aman. I lead the engineering team at Shipsy. For approximately 8 years, I have been part of the organization. It's starting from 6-member team to currently 300 plus people. So long time being the same company. For Shipsy, what the definition of cloud native is, basically, at first we are new generation organization, so most of our entire infrastructure is actually on the cloud, right? It's multi-cloud. We use all the major cloud providers, be it Oracle, GCP, Azure, AWS, and Hetzner also, E2E in India, right? So all of them. So we keep, so for us, it's basically deploying everything in the cloud, right? It depends on what if you want to use entire serverless, or if you want to use Fargate or maybe EC2, whatever, right? So it depends on the application, at what frequency it is to be used, how that to be used. There might be certain compute intensive workload which I might not run on, that way, right? I can run on cheap cloud provider like Hetzner or somewhere else, something like that. So it depends on the use case to use case, and so that's how we decide how we'll be planning this particular deployment, right? So that's how it is. So yeah, thank you.
Hi everyone. So first of all, as everyone also, most of the panelists also mentioned that cloud, the definition of cloud itself is pretty much subjective. What is cloud to you might not be to me. Like, I think if you go to the earliest definitions of cloud, it is basically that set of infrastructure components that you don't yourself buy or manage. Someone else will do that for you. That is what cloud is, and of course, from there it has been evolved to not just managing servers, but also managing storage, also managing specific services, PaaS, SaaS. Every cloud provider is doing all of those things. Is it imperative? I think in today's world it has been. I think cloud came with the promise of, we'll lower your TCO and you don't need to worry about a lot of things. We'll do it all for you. But I think most of the people in this room today will believe will agree that the cost of cloud has become prohibitively expensive, and of course we need to be logical about what we do with the cloud. It's like using a credit card. You don't know what is the end of the month bill going to be, but you're just using services because no one is charging for you upfront. So yeah, that is sort of cloud.
Okay, so I can summarize that the compute or resource, whatever resource we are, it should expand and shrink as per the usage goes on during the actually usage is happening in the system, and keeping the cost within the structure. So, okay, thanks for the answer. So, after cloud native, so it's imperative that most of us are using multiple cloud right now. So, I would like to know, and for the better understanding of what's the usage, what kind of usage require multi-cloud, and how you people are using multi-cloud in your organization. So, Dilawar, would you like to give some comment, some light on this particular topic?
So thank you. So it depends on again your organization use case. So should you go with the multi-cloud or should you be rigid on the single cloud, maybe Azure or AWS? But depending on use case, like again I belong to a fintech company, right? Still as part of compliance, you can't deploy every application on the clouds, right? So you have to go with the hybrid cloud as well. Some application, if you talk about like KYC, one of the KYC application that you can't deploy onto the clouds. You have to deploy into some specific like on-premises data center. Multiple data centers are available in the India, right? You can't export the data outside India as well, right? And some other function as well. If you are rigid with one cloud, so you can't switch. Sometimes one cloud is rigid कि I can't provide some discounts so and so numbers कि आपको मैं नहीं देने वाला, आपको use करना तो करो, मेरे को यही pricing model है, right? So you can't switch to another provider. So these are one of the reasons. So always keep multi-cloud in your system so that you can't rigid one cloud. You have flexibility according to your application use case. Suppose you are rigid one AWS cloud, right? So your technology team always rigid with the AWS SDK. And if you have to use like suppose latest technology, AI technology. So still there are some features which are not available in the AWS, right? And if you talk about the like GCP or Azure, they have better AI functionality, ChatGPT or something. So that's why you always go with the multi-cloud. At least you have to also keep some on-premises as well. Sometimes in past as well, you already listened about the downtime of Cloudflare. You already listened some services of AWS as well. So at least you should have multi-cloud switching capability so that you can switch your service at least lift and shift on the other cloud as well. So always keep multi-cloud. But say still there will be some compliance can be problem with keeping the multi-cloud. Maybe you have to rigid with like multiple certifications, multiple GRC parts. You have to manage the multiple policies as well as per the compliance or as per the cloud functionality. So this is one challenge. Rest of you can go with the multi-clouds because you can't keep lock-in as well with one vendor. So this is a flexibility. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, so it will give us the power to negotiate as well as give the best of the both world. So Aman, you also using multi-cloud in your application and offerings?
Yeah, so we extensively use multi-cloud. One of the major reason is that we work in more than 40 plus countries. We are logistics SaaS, so different companies have different policies, like compliance requirement is also there that they want to host the data in their particular country. And might be the case that AWS or maybe GCP or major cloud provider is not even available in that region, right? So we are kind of forced to use that particular cloud whichever is there. For example, we are using Sobo Cloud. I'm sure nobody has heard of it, right? So, that one of that reason is that. Other one of the major reason is the cost as well. So we are logistic company. We run lot of optimization algorithms, lot of route optimization, TMS, and all those things, right? So here I don't need the PII data, so I can use a cheaper cloud. And I can, so we are using E2E in India and Hetzner in Germany as well, right? So they offer quite cheap E2E machine servers, right, for computation things, right? So those type of things might be the case. AWS is good as, with the availability, right? So for those particular critical applications, we use them. And for cost constraint, for keeping the cost down, right, we use certain cost provider. So those type of things that we are extensively doing on day-to-day stuff.
Okay. And I think Toshniwal, you would like to point out the cost related to multi-cloud?
Yes, of course. I think multi-cloud, unless you really need it because of some sort of compliances or whatever, or in case of Aman, where they have to deploy in the customer's cloud, unless those are the requirements, multi-cloud is a terrible idea in my opinion. Egress costs, security management, training your team for using multiple clouds. These are all challenges. I think this was just a marketing strategy where, you know, cloud companies along with some of the analyst companies published multiple reports why multi-cloud is a great idea. It is not. It is terrible.
So you mean to say that whenever you get some offer of credit by another competitive cloud. So don't go to that cloud just for
You
cracks.
should always try to negotiate. But
Yes. So negotiation is something that we get via multi-cloud. It's agreed on, and also that whenever the requirement is for if the user, if the already the user or the client is on same cloud and on different cloud, then you have to provide your application to support multi-cloud framework. Okay. And now the cloud is also giving us challenges in terms of security and compliance. And most of the organization, even if we are fintech or we are going for public as a public company, then the compliance become very challenging part. And if the cloud native or the cloud itself giving some respite in security as well as compliance terms to DevOps in team, or it is something that is becoming more challenging, need more resources. So I would like to ask, I think Shashilpi, you should talk on this topic.
So what I believe is that security in cloud, I mean, it is not that when we move to cloud, the security overhead got reduced. Eventually, the thought was that when you move to cloud, cloud is more secure. The most of it is offloaded onto the cloud, and you no need to worry about security at least, because at least cloud providers are like hyperscalers are better doing it. They have dedicated teams to do it. What I feel is that the nature of the problem has changed. With the cloud, you have got different set of new problems which was not there perhaps in the data center world. Like for example, there are new security products now in the market, CNAP, Cloud Workload Protection, CWP, and with the speed, with the kind of scale that is available in the market so fast, the security is also evolving at the same pace. So your team security also needs to evolve with the same pace as the cloud is evolving. So, I mean, again, cloud are secure, but you still need to invest in security in cloud also. And that is what I can say.
Okay, and Dilawar, according to your views on security as well as compliance, because I think fintech need a lot of compliance as well.
Yeah, of course. So again, fintech is more persistent with the compliance, and Shashilpi already said, security is AWS platform or any cloud platform always provide the security, but it's not guarantee कि कोई आपको सब कुछ fix करके देने वाला है. It depend on you, because depend on the people's what type of skills you have. Because the cloud provides some like security hub, guard duty. They just provide the platforms. They provide just dashboards. You can just visualize ki what type of vulnerability is occurring in the systems. You have to analyze those vulnerabilities and you have to go to the fix after just verifying or analyzing the nature of change, which will impact the application or not. So always don't trust on the cloud ki cloud will optimize your security challenges. No. You have to just analyze those security, what are the vulnerabilities in occurring in your systems. You have to do some vulnerability assessment, VAPT every quarter, or you have to do some VASA, MASA. You have to do multiple penetration testings to just secure your systems. Don't blindly trust on the cloud. It will provide some more security and compliance part.
I'll just add one thing. So what I have always seen is that cloud analogy is best to the credit card. It's just like your credit card. I mean, you can swipe it anywhere without knowing the bills will come later. It hits you on the cost also, and the same on the security. If the cards get lost, people are just swiping it unless you get it blocked. I mean, and the liability is also yours. It is not on the bank. So cloud from the security perspective or cost perspective, it behaves like a credit card. So we should be all wary about the usage of the cloud, who has the access to spawn things, and we definitely should not lose the access to our credit card.
Right, rightly said. So even I will add some more into security and security side, because when we are in cloud, there are a lot of offering, and the companies like the cloud providers are giving more and more offerings in terms of services, in terms of platforms, in terms of I will say infrastructure. But how secure those infrastructure is, how to use those infrastructure. As a developer, we just get a new as a new application, new structure, new infrastructure, new services, then we start using it without keeping that, without knowing how secure it is, or maybe how this whole mess, because it's not even like a credit card, but it is more like a credit card in a purse, and like, yeah, it is like having 20 credit cards, and now you have to juggle which credit card you have to keep safe, as well as in which credit card or in which debit card you have to make this particular transaction. Because if I am making a transaction on a particular website, I will keep that, I have to if the website is not looking good enough but I need that service, then I will use a credit card with a lower limit, or maybe I will use a debit card with my OTP thing. So just because there is so many things in cloud, then we just shouldn't use those applications, use those infrastructure services right away, but we should keep the security. But still, I would like to know about more in the security side with anybody of you.
So completely agree on what has been said so far. I think different set of problems, right? When it comes to cloud, it's a different set of problems. The problems exist, right? The security is the problem, right? That we have to address, so that exists. One other side I would look at is cloud brings everything together, right? The advantage was also in some way there is an ongoing standardization that is happening on top of it, right? That we all are kind of using it. So for example, the scalability problem got solved. So now we all can use cloud and get that readily, okay? In similar way, specific to the compliance part, right? In my experience, I've seen that the evolution is helping us to solve some of the security problems within the cloud provider. So for example, a cloud provider like AWS or whatever you pick up, they are increasingly working on making some of the security problems solved or disappear within the cloud, right? So for example, you can rely on your cloud provider today saying, okay, this part you guys will provide me, and that is what industry also accepts today, right? So a lot of the PCI or the different SOC compliance, right, for example, or a bunch of different compliances are being taken care of by these cloud providers as well. So that is one advantage when we are on cloud that I can talk.
Okay, so older beasts are tamed, but we have to tame new beast in cloud.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Aman, you would like to add something?
So one key thing that cloud is providing, right? As you mentioned that a lot of things are standard, right? So lot of security tools or scripts which you can write, which can identify the security risk, and on your fingertips you can make those things more secure. For example, if I had non-cloud thing, right, and might be the case that port of a particular service is open, right? So I might not get any alert, I will not get any visibility. But on the cloud might be the case that I will instantly get an alert that this particular port is open, right? So those type of things, it is happening on a fingertips. We use some of our internal scripts also to identify if something is there. And third-party tools are also available which can quickly identify that these particular security issues are there in your service, and which you can quickly fix. So I think in terms of secure, it is much secure than the local deployment that we were doing earlier. So, yeah.
Okay, so all the tools are available, we have to just learn how to use them.
Yes, that you will have to do, yeah.
Okay, great. So, like, we got security, we got compliance, we got a lot of offerings, but it will come with a cost. So I would like to know how cost optimization is done in your organization, and what is your experience with cost as well as cloud, usage of cloud, and the cost of usage of that cloud, and what kind of return you will get out of this movement of from on-prem to cloud, or maybe within cloud if you move from one cloud to another, and what kind of native, we just thought that cloud native is something that up to serverless, but each and every abstraction bring some cost to it. So I think Toshniwal, you will start this discussion on cost optimization and how you think that how costly it is and how the cost optimization should be done in the organization in terms of cloud.
Right. So yeah, I think the credit card analogy applies, and more often than not, we end up spending much more than what we initially thought about in the cloud. See, I mean, don't get me wrong. Of course, cloud has provided the flexibility to move so much faster than it was when cloud was not there. But the whole idea of cloud will reduce your TCO, it is never going to happen. Cloud will charge you for every single thing that it can. Egress, interzone data transfer, IOPS cost. You will be surprised at the end of the month what all have you been billed for. And of course, like, I mean, multiple companies have come up in the domain of reducing cloud cost. Why is that the case? Because exactly that's a problem. So of course, the techniques could vary. The techniques could be, you know, using any of the tools or services, or you can yourself put your brains to it. I mean, at the end of the day, the application developer will know the best how to optimize their application or the resources to reduce the cost. So yeah, I think it's always a graph sine curve that it always increases. Then you will do things which will reduce the cost. Then again, it will go unchecked for a long time. Then again, you will go through that phase.
Yes, I am agree with it, and I do have a anecdote to this. So we were using multi-agent RDS system in our some of our application, and the usage is just because that developers or the EM says that whenever we need to upgrade or downgrade during business hours, it do not give us any downtime. But then when we told them that this is coming with the double cost, because you have to keep two systems running, then they said, yeah, this cost I am not agreed on, ki just for keeping this multi-agent system, just to make that once in a while when we are moving, either downgrading or upgrading the system, just do not give us 15-minute downtime. It's not good enough to give this much cost. So yeah, you would like to add something, Dilawar?
Yeah, I want to add something. So you know the single term CBA, cost benefit analysis, and another one opposite term, cost optimization, CO. So you should aware at least the terms of technology. How can you analyze your cost? Which services or which resource are utilizing the higher cost? In terms of like EC2, if you talk, you are running with the higher instance size, so you should analyze using some service. If you talk about the AWS, you have compute optimizer service. So you can analyze your workload, which resource are utilizing higher CPU, or you can just likely in the peak hours, you can running 24/7. But you know, in office, non-office hour, like after 1 to 7 in the mornings, right? There is no peak traffic. There are no e-commerce sales or something. People are just in sleeping modes. So what you can do some automations via the Lambda or something, and you can just, out of like 4 servers running in the clusters, you can just stop 50% servers, you can stop 1 to 7, and you can just optimize some cost. Other term, if you talk about the cost optimization, you can also running your non-production warehouse or maybe staging environment on the spot instances, which are cheaper as compared to on demand, right? So which is also one more benefit if in terms of the AWS or any cloud provider. One of more example, you have to do some more exercise. How can you optimize your cost? There are some hidden costs always in any provider. Like you already talked about the interzone cost optimization, interzone data transfer. So you have to fight with your account manager or your vendor. How can you get best deal of the interzone? Because interzone is the functionality providing by the any cloud provider for maintaining the high availability, right? It's cloud beauty, na? They are providing the high availability, right? So you have to work with them ki how can we get more deal into credit into the interzones, right? Some other optimization as well, recommendation, you can like recently EKS version, which is already out of dated, like, so you can at least upgrade your infrastructure up to date. So you can also save some more cost optimization in that terms as well, right? In talk about the RDS as well, I think Devender, you already told about the multi-AG. So every application doesn't require multi-AG. It means you can run the master and slave concept is okay, but you don't need to run into the backend one more AG clusters. That is a double charges. Yes. It depends on your application, and one of the bloom case when cloud would be down. So always don't run every application with the multi-AG. It will always bumper the cost. It will spike your cost. So there are multi challenges. At least you should do some CBA, cost benefit analysis. At least every quarter you do some analysis on your workload, where we can optimize the cost, where we don't require to optimize the cost, or where should we require to optimize the cost. So it depends on your, again, people soft skills, how they are aware about the resources and how they are using. And also one more thing I'm adding, you have to also involve your engineering team as well. What type of applications, is this application actually required higher number of cores, or this application can be run on the lower instance size as well. So you have to also work with your engineering teams. It's again a collaborative efforts by everyone in the company to just optimize the cost.
So CBA is mandatory every quarter?
Yeah, CBA and plus CO.
Yes, yes.
Because when you migrate the cloud now, so everyone is okay. Everyone is happy. Yes, now we are highly scalable, availability. But after 1 month, after 1 year, you will get again a pressure from the someone from the management or someone. Ki now you have to optimize the cost. Because earlier when we running on the data center, you were be paying around like 5 lakhs. When you will be cloud, you will paying around 20 lakhs.
The pressure email comes every month, not,
Yeah,
not
in most of
in the end of the quarter.
Oh, yes.
But like when, like in Cast 24, we are scaling and we are even moving to newer business. So every month we launch new services and then the email comes that bill increased by this amount again. After this CBA and after you have done all these activities, the bill is not going down but going up. So it's a like ever running activity and not the quarterly activity for few of our companies like us.
The cost which cloud provider never will deny is pay-as-you-go model, right? So at least you should put some alerts into the some FinOps tools. At least you can use some FinOps tool as well. Like multiple tools, recently even already Cloud Keeper is existing there, right? So you can Cloud Keepers and multiply like Anemic as well. So they can help to optimize your cost as well, right?
Satender, you want to add something?
I just, on the pay-as-you-go part, right, I just add a few lines. So we continue to pay, but we forget to stop, right? We continue to go also, right? So that is the part, I'll tell you the seepage is what we are all referring to here, right? Sometimes there are smaller costs. We are always looking at our production very closely, and then I'll take an example, the dev environments, okay? So you provision things, you try out a few things, and then you keep it there, and then it's lying there, okay? So nobody is cleaning it up. And we recently did a project where we created a small portal and we wanted to just check how to bring this down, right, especially for the weekends because people are just leaving it. We achieved a saving of $5,000 every month. I mean, that's going to be an ongoing thing now. But we were actually paying $5,000 extra to AWS just because we were not paying attention on our dev environments. So yeah, there is a seepage because pay-as-you-go has that, right? I mean, my Netflix subscription, for example, or Zomato Gold and whatever we purchase, right? We are not probably, we are subscribed to it, but we maybe don't use it that much. And that's the cost we are paying. I think that's the exact thing with cloud. So.
Yes, so DevOps are termed as पहले रायता फैलाते हैं, फिर समेटते हैं. So again, anybody? Yeah, Aman, you would like to add something?
So cost obviously one of the critical components of any engineering service, right? For us, the infra cost is around 8% of our revenue. So that's a big number, right? So we do the more managed services you use with the cloud, right? The higher cost you pay, right? So we even try to reduce the managed services that we are using, right? So for example, we are using earlier API gateway to get the events, right? We were paying around $12,000 a month because we have large number of APIs coming in, right? So then we develop our own product, our own API gateway servers, right? So and hosted them on AWS Fargate, right? And our cost reduced by more than $11,000, $11,000. So, and that too a monthly. So those type of things, cost is not just the DevOps problem that way. It's the entire company's engineering problem, right? Where what architecture you put in to reduce the cost, right? For example, we are using Mongo, right? Mongo runs 3 servers at a time. It runs primary and 2 secondary, right? And in 99% of the organization I have met, right? They never use secondary, right? So they just have in the back of their mind that secondary is there to prevent my downtime, right? But you can also use secondary as a read replica over there. So we were able to reduce our cost that way. We were using all our analytics on those secondaries, right? Which kind of instantly you have 1 server running, now you have 3 servers running. So that's why, and we do a lot of architecture revamp as well to reduce our cost, to analyze and use cheaper cloud providers for running, compute intensive workloads. So cost, one of the, as we see, is one of the most critical component, right? But at every step you will have to analyze how we can reduce the cost that way. We able to reduce the cost by 20%, right, in last 1 year, and it took us entire 1 year because we had to do a lot of architecture changes that way. So that's how cost is all about, right? So, yeah.
So cloud is giving us gratification of saving millions of dollars every year, and again next year we start working on that same problem. Okay, after cost now, because new technologies are in use in every domain, in every business, like AI is used in business as well as development. So I would like to know if AI is giving us some benefit in DevOps as well in your organization. So is AI or ML or whatever name you can choose it for automation. So is it something that you are using and giving some kind of benefits in terms of DevOps only? So Dilawar, I would like to know.
So yeah, so mostly organizations are trying to use AIOps or MIOps, but we can't eliminate a complete DevOps structure, right? Still, operation would be always existing in the systems, right?
So no ops. We are not saying for no ops. We have to keep our job as well.
That's right. So minimum ops is required, but we can't eliminate again. So at least we can use the different tools. Like if you talk about like one is the tool, pager duty, right? So we can use that alerting tool as well. At least we can keep the systems operation stuff from different things. Like we can give the call alerting to the peoples so that they don't require 24/7 into the people into the shifts. We can keep some alerting, better alerting that can be avoiding these manual efforts as well. So at least we can reduce these tasks via the AIOps or MIOps. But still I'm thinking still we are far away for completely to eliminate the DevOps with the AI.
Okay. Toshniwal?
Yes. So I'm very optimistic about no ops, or let's call it less ops. I think so. First of all, because of LLMs in the picture and all sorts of co-pilots being there, the number of services per developer or the number of services to manage per SRE or infrastructure engineer will explode. It is already exploding and it will further explode. While the skill is not growing at that pace. So definitely AI will play a huge role in ops as well. As we speak, there are last two YC batches, there were two companies each working on AI SRE agents, for example. Migration automation is a very interesting field which is coming up. So I think while there won't be no ops, but min ops is definitely a very exciting thing that will happen.
No, I think, yeah, no ops will be there for sure. And I meant no ops. And because maybe at some point in time, system administrators, like 10 years back, they might have thought, Tomcat would still be there, but so our jobs are secure, right? But eventually, system admins converted to DevOps, right? So DevOps will go to no ops, but it is not like we won't be doing anything. People, again, who won't adapt to the newer things may feel the heat. Otherwise, things like what I have seen, like I've been to, like I was there in Mumbai, so people were talking about green ops. So green ops is like all about sustainability, like where companies have started, measuring their carbon footprints, like in our travel industry, for example, airlines have started calculating their carbon footprints. They have defined new KPIs, new matrices, how to control that. So things like that eventually has taken over further. So nothing to worry, but no ops is the final destination eventually. Maybe not be next year or 2 year, 3 year down the line, but definitely after 7, 8 years. But there will be new things to do, and that's a good thing about that things will evolve and we will get to do something new.
Right, so we do not get a call from developer that my system goes down and please make 2 ports rather than 1.
You don't want to do that also, right? Ask this new generation, Gen Z people, Gen Alpha guys, they don't want to solve that problem, okay? Service is not coming up, can you please check? My build is failing, can you check that? We were like accustomed to do that, we were happy doing it for ages, that okay, if 10 cases are coming in a day, then my job is secure, I am safe. But they don't want to do that, they want to do something else tomorrow. Right.
They want to train the model, na? Yeah. Yeah, Satender, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think we all are agreeing that this is evolution, right? And it will take over us, right? I mean, some of us who are here from some time will probably resist it. But yes, as Shashilpi said, there will be higher order problems to solve, and all of us will, the younger generation, the future people, right, who will be doing ops, whatever we will call it then, they will do it in different ways, right? So I think let's all agree that it will actually change. Today, how much it is, how close are we to that? I don't know, because for example, in DevOps, right? I think the part of your question was also the DevOps, how is it in DevOps today? I believe there are tools in the ecosystem which are driving it. For example, anomaly detection or predictive monitoring. So those tools we are using, and that's how the AI is kind of helping us. We recently did a project where we said, okay, I mean, this was more like we had some interns and there was a hackathon. So we said, okay, when we troubleshoot incidents, right, we have a lot of documentation and knowledge base internally, and LLMs are good at ingesting everything and can do conversation, right? So a couple of the guys actually said, okay, let's do it. And although, I mean, it had to do a lot of training and all, we are not the experts in developing that. So that is one part of it, right? How much time can you invest in developing something for that yourself, right? But I think, yeah, there are areas where it will start to help very soon, because think of a situation where you're dealing with an incident and a lot of systems, it can quickly traverse, and a lot of data it can quickly read and help you, right? That is where I think it will definitely start to help, and then future we'll see.
Okay, on this note, I would like to know what kind of trends you people are looking for DevOps, so how things will move in DevOps area in near-term future, and how it will impact, other than AI, what other trends are working out in DevOps. So I would like to answer, each one of you answer this question, please.
So if you talk except the AI, so there would be one more in future. Security would be the major concern, and compliance, and after that there would be one more automations. So that would be, everyone should be touched on the automation and security and compliance. That is the new area would be coming to the DevOps areas.
I mean, I just see like AI taking over low code, no code, Copilot developing the code itself, deploying itself, running itself. Like we need to find, I mean, like a better job. I mean, in a sense that how we gel in with AI, that is the trend. Sustainability definitely is the trend, and something to follow. I mean, that could be a good area to follow in future, like to, I mean, move into a different zone, like from doing traditional things too. So I think sustainability and adapting to AI is the future.
Satender?
Yeah, I think trends we can again divide into a few different phases. Immediate ones, I think we are looking at people who are still on-prem to cloud, right? Then there is infrastructure as code. Then there is GitOps, everything as code. I think that's the immediate thing. For some people, that will be the case. For the people who have already done that for some time now, they'll be exploring all this AI bits of it, how it can help. Serverless, I think, has not caught up that much. I think there will be a lot of no code, low code is also one thing, right? So I think those are some of the things that come to my mind when it comes to, yeah.
Okay, Aman?
So obviously everyone is aware AI is doing really, really well. All the LLMs that have been, right? I personally use a lot of LLMs, right, to daily write the code or something like that, right? So, but in one thing which I think AI can play a crucial role is basically identifying the root cause of any incident, right? Some incident happens, right? That might be because of 10 different services. For example, we have RDS, we have load balancers, we have application level things, right? And then we have multiple other things, right? So maybe if I have to monitor a database, right, I might have to go on Postgres, right? But that will only give me the metric of CPU usage, RAM usage, and all those things. But in order to get the data of transactions, I might have to use PG Hero. Or so what I'm saying is we have to currently use 5 to 10 tools to probably identify the root cause of actually what is happening with something, right? So if AI can play a crucial role over there, get the data of all the things, right? And AI is very good. We can already see at reasoning. Given all the data, it can quickly identify, okay, you need to look into this particular thing at first. So instead of here hovering around checking 10 things, what is going wrong, right? The SRE engineer, so whosoever is on call at that time, right, can quickly take action instead of wasting time here and there. So I think that would be one of the things that we will see in future. So
yeah, just extending that. See, LLMs are extremely good at managing a large context window, looking at multiple data sources. So, what Aman said is definitely one thing which LLMs will do better. And for that, I mean, I would predict that there will be specific models who are trained for this particular use case. That is lightweight models, of course, probably small language models, not as heavy models, who are specific for this purpose. So that is one. The other trend I would love to not love to see, but I expect to see is cloud repatriation or declouding, as it is discussed. So movement will be in both the directions. On-prem will go to cloud after people on the cloud will realize that some of this workload does not make sense on the cloud, so they will come back. So I think that's probably going to settle at some equilibrium.
So specialization requirement maybe need for on-prem or maybe data center provisioning. You are saying like that, or
So
cost
maybe
is-
in some maybe in some different ways. Maybe there would probably be companies or services who will help you do all of these things. You don't need to really, because like hiring and maintaining or developing this talent is not feasible anymore, because it's a lost art. The art of sysad is a lost art, because for the past generation has been trained onto cloud where they did not have to do all of these things. I mean, 90% of the people working in engineering today haven't seen a rack blade. I can bet on that.
Yeah, sure. At least LLM can chat while we are fixing issues, because we start getting a lot of a lot of messages from different department. At least that part should LLM cover up first. Then maybe fixing issues, maybe next part. So thanks a lot for all your input.